Hi, it's Bryce with UT Kilts, and I wanted to take a minute today to make a little bit of a different video than what I typically do. I guess this would be more like a vlog or video blog, but I want to talk about an experience that I had a few weeks back while wearing a kilt to church, to my local congregation. As I had this experience, the thought came to my mind that sometimes those of us that wear kilts, we kind of get caught up in making sure that the kilt looks exactly perfect and the pleats hang exactly right and this pleat does this, and making sure everything looks just exactly the way we think it should. And I think sometimes we forget to enjoy just wearing the kilt. So let me take a few minutes to explain what happened, and then I'll show you the kilt that in question that I wore to the service. So a few weeks back, I decided to wear a different kilt to church. I always wear a traditional kilt to church. I dress up really nice. This was actually a new congregation that we had been going to since we moved homes. And this particular kilt I had never worn before, and it was a kilt that I decided to try and just wear, and I didn't realize what it was going to be like until I put it on. And once I put it on, I realized that it just wasn't what a kilt should be. And I want to go ahead and show you the kilt itself and what the issues were with it, but it's really not a kilt that I'm actually ever going to wear again. But it taught me a real important lesson when I wore this to my congregation. All right, so this is the kilt I decided to wear to church a few weeks ago. Now, if you just look, just starting here, this is where the front apron ends, and you can see this huge space where this front apron should be all the way over here. It's only got one buckle. That's because of a slash pocket here, not to give you any tips into what we are doing for the future, but just letting you know. But that's one of the big issues, is this has this huge spot. It was never made. This is not made right. If you were to actually have this sit properly, it should have been here. Now, you're probably wondering, where did I get this? Honestly, I think I mentioned before, I have no idea where I got this. I just had it in my closet and I decided to wear it. But it was a really good learning experience. If I turn all the way around and you take a look at the pleats, you can tell by the pleating, they're not deep. And they are also not very many, and it should tell you that this is probably about a 3 to 4 yard kilt. It's lightweight and it's comfortable, but it doesn't look really that great. It doesn't look really good at all. This is the kilt I wore. I had a nice sporran and shirt and tie, but what happened next after I wore it to the main congregational meeting that we have on Sundays was pretty surprising, and I just wasn't ready for it. So let me talk about that next. All right, so that's the kilt that I wore, I mentioned, and we had been in this congregation for a couple of months, so they had seen me in kilts before, and there were some new people, some visitors there that hadn't been there before, so it was new to them. And I don't get typically comments. In fact, I've never gotten any comments. I've got a couple of people to make some goofy remarks, but I just ignore it. And I had this person walk up to me after the meeting and say how awesome they thought it was that I was wearing that kilt. And I said thank you, and we talked for a few minutes about them and moved on. And it got me thinking that, this is, out of all the kilts I have some really nice wool kilts that I'll wear usually during the winter time, but sometimes if it's cooler. And I've never gotten compliments on them anywhere I've worn them. And what this got reminding of is, I think that we, and myself included, that we get caught up in what exactly the kilt looks like, and are the pleats right? And I think we forget to think of what other people are thinking. They're not looking at that. I think most people look at some guy wearing a kilt and think that's awesome, especially other guys. Think that is really cool, that is awesome, I wish I was wearing a kilt. And I think that sometimes we need to do that. We need to just forget about what it looks like and just enjoy wearing it and think, this is comfortable. It's better than those other guys that are wearing pants or shorts or whatever they happen to be wearing. And other people are going to like it. and just worry less about, you know, the pleats and if they're pleated exactly right, if there's a crease in them or anything like that. So it was a lesson learned that I just need to enjoy what I wear. And I want to take a second to thank you for watching the video. If you have any comments, be sure to leave them below.